I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there's a storm coming. Now, one thing that happens when we're planting on the farm is we got to treat our seed. The reason is, well, we grow our own seed, we use our own seed, and typically this is our seed truck, and that there is our seed treater. And all it really is just a holding tank with a little pump on it that pumps fluid down a line underneath the whole truck up into this hose right here, which has a nozzle on it. We stick the nozzle on the auger going up into the grain cart or the air cart on the air drill, and it applies a rough, really crude estimate amount of treat per bushel into the cart, which works pretty good. We just go off judging the color of what comes out the end of the auger. It works. It's cheap. It gets the job done. Is it the most effective? Yeah. Is it messy? Yeah. Does it have hoses hanging off everything? Gives us lots of trouble. The nozzle's always plugging. We're always having issues freezing every winter. The pump quits working. Yeah. Should we change it? We absolutely could. But here's the thing. So it's a nice day. A little windy, but nice day. Air drill running over there. You can barely see him, but he's over there. There's one running away over here. They're burning through the seed. I gotta get another batch of seed made for them. And that seed treater's not ready. And there's a storm coming today, this afternoon. They're talking enough to shut us down for probably a day, maybe two. We'd actually like that because we need the moisture, but I say we fight a storm with a storm. Should we bring the storm into the scene? Okay. Behold the storm. This is the Storm FX from AGI. It is a seed treater. It is a monster seed treater. This is gonna let us treat our seed directly from raw seed to treat it into the truck, and then take the treated load directly to the air drill, not messing with treat out in the field, 100% in the yard. This is a neat machine. It's accurate, it's effective, and it gets a lot of bushels done quickly. It's self-propelled. It's got the ability to go underneath a hopper bottom of a truck, a hopper bottom of a grain bin, whatever you've got, it's right there. It auto feeds itself when you set the calibrations in the monitor here, and you configure it exactly how you want it per treat, per bushel, per ounce, per gram, whatever your ratios you're doing, it'll do it really well. It's got these cool little tubes on here that make you think it's like from a hospital or a lab. I know, I think it's cool. Check this out, this is the pumps. So pumps typically are a problem with treat. It gets gummy, gets stuck in places, water gets in there and freezes over time if you don't winterize it properly. These, I actually don't know the correct term of these pumps, I was told, but I forgot. These use these rubber hoses and it squeezes them on these rollers right here. Make sense? Rollers right there. And so when you close this housing on it, it creates a pinch point. So as the rollers push the hose, it's like milking a cow's udder. Maybe that was a terrible analogy, but it kind of makes sense, right? Milking a cow's udder? Okay, similar. Well, that process is really efficient, really simple, easy to replace parts because all there is for a wear point is just a rubber hose there. But that way, you can do an accurate pumping and metering correctly of the treat without a complicated pump system that doesn't pump very accurately. Make sense? Good. But before I can show you guys this thing in operation, I gotta get some trucks. right, I'll give you a quick lowdown on what's happening here. So this old keg, what we used to treat with on the air drill, it's just gonna use for just our bulk treat. So I'll be pouring treat in there periodically through a funnel. It's gonna suck it up through this tube all the way up into this pump. And then this is to calibrate it. So I'll go ahead and run a calibration. And what I'll do is you'll see this fill up with red blood looking liquid. And we'll run a couple calibrations just to make sure that it's doing what we want it to do. And then when I'm ready to go, it'll drain this out. Pump will run, it'll start treating. I'll start the conveyor. There's a conveyor right here. I'll take this cover off in a minute so you guys can see what's in there. The conveyor feeds a consistent amount of wheat. So basically when I open the gate up, let it just fill this whole hopper full. And you want that hopper always full. It'll run the grain up into here. There's 2 treat nozzles here, and there's one on the bottom as well. And what'll happen is as it goes in there, this is where the mixing starts. And the mixing takes place basically entirely by flighting. So there's plastic flighting in there, and the flighting is reversed on the edges going part way, and then the other side, it's the opposite. But if that makes any sense, it's on the edges of the flighting. It's not reversed totally, otherwise it'd go backwards. But so as it's going, it's going to agitate all that product with the treat, the calibrated treat, and the calibrated product going in, and then what comes out here should be exactly the rate that we want. And right now we're shooting for 5 ounces per 100 pounds of product. So 5 ounces of treat for 100 pounds of seed that's going through there. All right, let's go ahead and run a calibration on this unit. Set valve to calibrate right there. Okay, here we go. Ready? Okay, so we're at just 0 milliliters. That's where we want to start the calibration at. So let's go hit start test. So it's going to pump in a bunch of product, and then we're going to measure where it's at in that time frame, and then I'll input the numbers into here when it's done. We'll let it keep going. Okay, so we collected 925. Enter. All right, now that it's calibrated, we'll go ahead and pump it all out. So it's gonna pump it all back into the treat keg. And then I will clean this tube out, and then let's get treating. All right, let's start the conveyor up and get it warmed up. Did I say conveyor? I meant auger, auger. So we're gonna let it run, let the hydraulics warm up, because we want the hydraulic consistency to be accurate so it feeds the right amount. All right, she's warmed up, let's do it. Isn't that pretty cool how this works? So you keep the hopper full, and it'll regulate how much seed is coming in. Again, this motor drives it at a particular speed. It'll speed up and slow down as needed. Then in here, this is obviously where we're injecting the treat, going up the flighting, and out the other end. They've got a hydraulic cooler system on here because this hydraulics can get warm. They want the hydraulic oil of really consistent temperature. That'll regulate the speed, the RPMs of the flighting, which then obviously changes how it mixes. Now, why do we treat our seed? A couple reasons. There's pests. There's what's called wireworm. There's insects. There's things that live in the ground, and they love wheat seeds, just like we like to eat our Wheaties, you know, seed. So they'll devour it. They'll devour the plants. So, and then there's funguses. There's a lot of things that can damage the seed while it's in the ground. So this just helps ensure that that seed gets a surviving chance to grow into a beautiful wheat plant that's going to produce this year at least 45 bushels an acre, at least. I hope. All right, well, unfortunately, we just ran out of treat because we didn't buy enough, and it's weekend, and I don't think it was there to get it. So, plus the storm, not that storm, the actual storm is coming. And it's getting windy here, and the cold air's moving in, so we're gonna be shutting down here soon anyways. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish cleaning this thing up. Right now, I just gotta basically close the gate. We told it to stop treating because it ran out of treat. So now it's gonna run what's left in the little hopper over here and this conveyor through, which is fine because it'll collect all the treat that's still stuck in the lighting and the auger. So let's press this button right here. Gonna run a little bit of methanol or some type of a product through it, clean it up a little bit, shut it down, and then we'll see how much it rains and snows. We gotta put the truck split. Well, there. Now you know the storm. Be prepared to see some more of it in action. Pretty cool. Yeah. Here comes the rain and snow. A little bit of a mix, but it's a-coming. Smell that fresh dirt, dust, getting wet. It's a great smell in the summer. Right now, it's okay though. We really need the moisture, we really do. Maybe now would be a great time to do a little road trip with the family and stock up on some supplies. So when we get back at it for another 2-3 weeks, we won't be short on snacks in the tractor cab, right? Plus I got a little girl's birthday coming up here, and she's asked for some pretty interesting things. So we gotta go find some lollipops, sparkles, and unicorns. I better get on that. Don't mess up your daughter's 4th birthday. Don't mess that up. I think that's a big fat no for us planting today or spraying. But you know what? This is great because this activates the sulfentrazone that I just applied on all the pea soil, which will then prevent any future broadleafs from making it out of the ground. Well, that's good. And it gives us a little bit of breathing room, kind of get caught up on some odds and ends. I'm gonna do a little bit of work on spray trailer and big brute because why not? That's what I do. But no, there's little things I kind of want to mess with. But low key until things warm up and melt off, and then we'll be back in the field shortly. I told you guys a storm was coming. Though, we're keeping one storm for now. This storm can go away. Woo! Love those keystones. Bright. Bam! One of the first things I'd like to do to Big Brute. So these are the main, not the main boom lift cylinders, but each wing lift cylinder. So when the boom is fully extended out, it's what raises it up and down. That's the one that I'm operating the most because that's the one I'm raising as I go over fence lines, I'm lowering as I go through a ditch, whatever it may be. That's because I don't have auto boom. Auto boom is where the system actually auto levels itself with the ground. We had a really cheap system on there. It didn't work very good. I got rid of it because it was, I ended up dragging more boom with it on than I ended up with it off. These cylinders don't lift fast enough. It's not our hydraulic pressure. This thing boosts up to 3,000 PSI according to my gauge when it's fully warmed up and operational. I believe what it's called an orifice, little teeny hole. And I think it's up there by that accumulator on the cylinder right there. And it restricts the flow in and out of that cylinder so that way you don't have really rapid movements. It's good, except for it's too restricted. I need more movement. I need to be able to lift that boom quicker. And there's been multiple times that I've drug boom or I've ran into a rock or a fence post because I just didn't have enough time to raise it up. So I'm gonna take that apart and see if I can find that orifice, little teeny hole. And if I find it, I'm half tempted to drill it out with just a little bit wider diameter and see if that helps. Let's investigate. Well, after looking closer, it's nothing to do with the cylinder or any of those fittings. I actually think it's just that little 3/8 line. I think it's a 3/8 line that runs the hydraulics. It could even be smaller than that, like a quarter. I don't know, it's a tiny line and the OP in it is just tiny. So I think I'm gonna turn that into a 1/2 inch line or possibly 3/8 if my sizes are correct. That might not be a 3/8, I think that's a quarter. So I'll switch that to a 3/8 line, go have one made, and I bet you that'll increase my capacity quite a bit to that cylinder, which will then let it lift and drop fast. That's what I want. All right, we'll get to it. So, I got new ends. These are the little dinky tiny 1/4 inch line that's now being turned into 3/8 line with much larger fittings. So oil flow is going to be a lot more efficient. Here's the new one. I'm really excited to try this out. I'm actually going to try it out after you get these on because I got to drive the Brute out for a minute. But yeah, I think this is the restriction on that system. They want that. They want you to move those booms slow for safety purposes and just easier on them. But I want to move faster because I drive faster and I need to react faster. because there's all those trees out here that you guys see all the time. Actually, there's fence lines, gas poles, rocks, and occasional bystanders that are walking their dogs along the road. Gotta watch out for those. Well, I think I'm gonna run this outside, get her fired up, drive it out, I'll check the booms. It's still a little cold out there. I'm definitely not gonna be spraying, but Legarms wants to work on his pickup, so gotta make some room in this shop, because if you guys haven't noticed, it's full of trucks and sprayers. Fire it up. Something about that sprayer that's kind of interesting is it's got a weird issue with the hydraulic pump on it. It's a closed center system, and when you first fire it up and the oil is cold, the pressure is like barely 1700 psi, which is hardly enough to move much of the booms and the hydraulics on it. But as it warms up, it climbs up to about 3000 psi is what we have it set at. We've tinkered with it and messed with it, and we cannot get it to automatically just set itself at 3000 psi even if the oil is cold. It should be able to automatically set those parameters because it's a closed center pump. Load sensing, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's pressure comp. Anyway, so I wasn't able to tell, and I'm not gonna let it run forever to get it oil warmed up because it's cold outside right now. That took a while, but I got all the bolts off the studs. So I'm just gonna tap around on it, see if we can get that turbo to break loose off its gasket. We will see. I don't want to break it. It's got to be a core exchange. It's like worth like 800 bucks or something as a core. Maybe not that much, 400, I don't know. Enough. Let's tap-roo. Oh, it's coming already. Let's get a bar. Bar. Got it. So it's interesting. Not a lot of play in it right now. It's actually pretty tight. But when it was hot, there was a lot of play in it. The vanes on the top here, they're a little scuffed up. This was a fertilizer spreader truck originally, and this has seen about 3,000 hours prior to our use, 2,800 hours, somewhere in that area. So it's seen some rough field acres. I took the housing apart on the intake side, or I guess the blower side, to give me a little more room so I could get those bolts. But even the exhaust impeller doesn't feel that bad, but it was whistling. It was really, I shouldn't say whistling, squealing. It was squealing at me. And it was definitely the turbo, so we got a new one. Let's put it on. What time is it? 10 o'clock? Do I pick up in the morning or do I keep going tonight? Let's keep going. It's together. Let's go start it. I took it for a quick test spin, turbo spools, makes nice turbo sounds, got power, so we're all good there. Oil pressure was great, so I'm not blowing oil everywhere. But it still makes a weird sound when you let off the gas. And we just did some more investigating, and I'm pretty sure Legarms thinks it's the intercoolers squealing at us. So there must be a hole somewhere or something. But the turbo was bad. There were some vanes bent on it. So, and it had a lot of slop in that impeller, so it was a good idea to just replace it anyways, but let's pop the hood, see if we can find the leak.
Yep.
Got a little leak on the top?
It's cracked.
Flex seal?
I'll have to break out that aluminum welder.
Flex seal?
What?
Flex seal?
No.
Oh.
No nick. Flex tape.
Oh, flex tape. Yeah, that whole, oh yeah, that whole top is broke off. Okay, we'll clean up, weld it up. And it's got a new turbo. It's like 11 o'clock, 11:30, almost midnight. Let's go to bed. I need a shower. See you guys soon.
I'm going to take the aluminum welder and try to put a little bead across around the top and hopefully it'll seal and not break. Fun, fun. In my defense, I only do this maybe 3 times a year at the very most, and that's welding aluminum. Never got training on it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. You guys want to see my job? I might have gotten it hot and it might have drooped a little bit. The important thing, it's gonna hold. Nobody's gonna see it except for you guys. Yep, there's that. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, it's good. It actually is.
What an idiot. I love him. He's a good brother. I like him. We'll keep him.